Never in all the years in Hong Kong has the court dealt with a crime so cruel, so depraved, so callous, and so malicious, committed by one human being against another. These were the exact words of the Supreme Court judge who, in the year 2000, handed down the verdict in a case that forever shattered the criminal history of Asia. Right now, you are looking at a character known to millions of people worldwide. In all likelihood, this toy is, or once was, somewhere in your own home. A universal symbol of childhood innocence, yet for the people of Hong Kong, this image now evokes only one thing: a waking nightmare. Because one day, inside a doll just like this, police discovered a real human skull. Make yourself comfortable. Today, we are opening a case where the line between human nature and animalistic ferocity was erased entirely. May 1999. A 14-year-old girl named Ah Fong walks into a Hong Kong police station. She looks exhausted, her eyes are terrified, and her hands are visibly shaking. She tells the officers that for weeks she hasn't been able to sleep. The reason? She is being stalked by a ghost. The girl describes the phantom in agonizing, vivid detail. A young, slender woman, her face beaten beyond recognition, her body tightly bound with iron wire, screaming in agony every single night. The officers exchange looks. To them, this sounds like typical teenage hysteria, or the aftermath of cheap synthetic drugs. They are just about to show Ah Fong the door, dismissing her story as a sick prank, when the girl drops a bombshell confession. "I see her because I was there. I helped torture her, and I know exactly where they hid what is left of her." With those words, the ghost story instantly transforms into an official homicide investigation. The woman the teenager was talking about was named Fan Man Yi, and if there truly was a ghost in this story, her soul was seeking peace after a life that, from the very beginning, resembled a living hell. Fan Man Yi was born in 1976. Abandoned by her parents as an infant, she spent her entire childhood in a state-run orphanage for girls. But the system at the time was ruthless. The moment Fan turned 16, she was simply cast out of the institution. Without a penny in her pocket, without an education, and without a single shred of support in a massive, cynical megalopolis. To simply survive and find a roof over her head, the young girl fell into a classic trap of the Hong Kong underworld. She turned to street prostitution. Her attempts to numb the psychological pain led to a severe drug addiction. At the age of 21, a glimmer of hope appeared. Fan got married and gave birth to a son. She hoped that a family would save her, but the marriage became a new circle of torment. Her husband turned out to be abusive. They both continued to abuse substances, and neighbors called the police night after night because of a child's crying and the sounds of brutal domestic violence. Eventually, taking her baby, Fan fled from her husband. To feed her child, she took a job as a hostess at the Empress Karaoke Club. It was there that she crossed paths once again with an old client from her days on the street. His name was Chan Man Lok, and he wasn't just a regular customer. He was a high-ranking member of the Triad, a notoriously brutal Chinese mafia syndicate. Fan Man Yi knew exactly who Chan Man Lok was and what the people in his circle were capable of. Yet, desperation and a severe withdrawal pushed her to make a fatal mistake. In 1997, during one of their meetings, she stole the mobster's wallet. It contained only about $50, a mobile phone, and an expensive lighter. For a Triad member, being robbed by a prostitute is not just a financial loss. It is a public humiliation and a direct blow to his authority. Chan instantly found out who took his belongings and issued an ultimatum. The debt had to be paid back with mafia interest. The amount ballooned astronomically to $1,250. Fan worked day and night, even while pregnant, and managed to pay back almost the entire original amount of the debt. But the artificial interest cooked up by Chan kept compounding. 2 years passed. In the spring of 1999, the gang leader decided that talking was over. He enlisted two of his subordinates, 27-year-old Leung Shing Cho and 21-year-old Leung Wai Lun. On March 17, 1999, Fan Man-yi was snatched right off the street. She was brutally shoved into the trunk of a car and driven to a rented apartment number 31 on Granville Road. The door locked shut. The countdown of her final month on this earth had begun. Initially, Chan Man-lok planned to force Fan to work out of the apartment, taking her client's money directly for himself. But the situation rapidly spiraled out of control. The criminal nature of the gang, fueled by massive amounts of alcohol and methamphetamine, turned the three men into monsters. On the very first night, Fan was brutally beaten and assaulted. The next day, it happened again. They bound her with iron wire and hung her from the ceiling like a punching bag. When her body turned into a solid mess of hematomas, the sadists began rubbing a mixture of chili oils and raw dirt into her open wounds. Whenever they left the apartment, Fan was left tied up without water or food. Instead, she was forced to ingest feces and drink urine. Furthermore, the criminals demanded that during the beatings, the girl had to smile and say that she enjoyed it. If she cried, the torture became even more depraved. Drip melted plastic from a straw onto her leg and forced her to laugh. That was the kind of order Chan gave to his lackeys. The 14-year-old Afon participated in this nightmare as well. She was the girlfriend of one of the thugs and would later tell investigators, "I did it because it felt like it was just a game." Fan Man-yi held on for exactly 1 month. In mid-April 1999, her exhausted body could not survive another blow. She died on the dirty floor while her torturers slept in the next room. Upon discovering that the girl was dead, the gang panicked. It was spring outside, and the body was decomposing rapidly. That was when Chan Man-lok made a decision that makes the blood run cold. He moved Fan into the bathroom and began dismembering her using a saw and a kitchen cleaver. To destroy DNA and complicate identification, the gang boiled the victim's internal organs and body parts in large pots on the kitchen stove. The most horrifying detail is that in a neighboring pot on the adjacent burner, the men were simultaneously boiling instant noodles for their own dinner. Some of the remains were thrown out the window onto the building's awning. Neighbors repeatedly complained about a sickening stench, but the police who answered the calls initially dismissed it as the smell of ordinary rotting garbage. On May 24, 1999, led by Ah Fong's confession, the police finally stormed apartment 31. When the detectives opened the door, they were hit by a stench of decomposition so thick that even respirator masks offered no shield. The apartment had been empty for a month, but the dirty pots still stood on the stove. And in the hallway, propped against the wall, sat a large plush Hello Kitty doll, swarming with thousands of insects. One of the forensic experts gently tapped the doll with an iron baton. There was something hard inside. Chan Man-lok had gutted the stuffed toy, forced Fan Man-yi's charred skull inside, and stitched it back up, whispering, "Be a good girl, now you'll look pretty." The trial became the loudest and most scandalous in the history of Hong Kong. The criminals lied until the very end. They claimed that Fan Man-yi died of a drug overdose and that they only wanted to hide the body because they feared the police. Because the victim's remains were almost completely destroyed, medical examiners could not legally establish the exact cause of death. Due to this horrific technicality, the court could not charge them with premeditated murder. However, the judge found another way. For kidnapping, false imprisonment, torture, and preventing the lawful burial of a body, the trio was sentenced to life imprisonment. The judge called them perverts who must never be released for the rest of their days. But did justice truly prevail? One of the killers, Leung Shing-cho, filed an appeal 5 years later, claiming he was the only one who surrendered to the police voluntarily. The court showed leniency and reduced his sentence to 18 years. In 2014, he was released on parole. But the nature of a monster does not change. A few years passed, and in August 2022, Leung Shing-cho found himself behind bars again, this time for assaulting a 10-year-old girl. The underage Ah Fong received full immunity in exchange for her testimony. Her name was changed, and today her whereabouts remain unknown. The building on Granville Road, where the torture took place, attracted paranormal enthusiasts for years who claimed they could hear fans' screams. In 2012, the structure was completely demolished. Today, a modern hotel stands in its place, where the owners installed Buddha statues as a sign of respect and an attempt to bring peace to the souls of the tortured. Fan Man Yi's husband and son moved to Singapore. The boy has no memory of his mother, but now, having grown up, he always wears her necklace around his neck. It is the only tangible thing he has left of the woman whose life was taken by pure, inhuman evil. Take care of yourselves, be vigilant to what is happening around you, and remember, sometimes reality is far more terrifying than any fictional horror movie. I'll see you in the next episode.